You ready, Margie?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. It's 9 o'clock, August the 20th, 2024, and this is the public notice for the Commissioners Court budget hearing. Is now in session. We'll have roll call by our county clerk, Mary Jane Villalon. Mary Jane, good morning.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners.
Good morning.
Judge Asmo.
Judge Radenberg.
Fred, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I have a still bit of strep.
Okay.
Commissioner Mendoza,
Present.
Commissioner Morales,
Present.
Commissioner Solis,
Present.
and Commissioner Garza.
Present.
We have
Thank you, Mary Jane.
Sorry.
We'll try to hold back your speaking engagements this morning. I guess you won't be requesting any.
I actually talked to one of the commissioners about it.
Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So one of our, this public hearing, one of the first things we ask is anybody in the public or wish to address the court on anything on the agenda. Do we have a written list to go by, or do we just read
We
by the
have a
raise of hand?
sign-in sheet,
Yeah.
but I don't know, if those for the members present, I don't know
I
if
don't
for the.
think any department heads are signed up to
Okay.
address the court at this time.
All right, so basically, I can begin by the process of what I had in preparing the proposed budget this year. Certainly it was not good news. I think we've all been aware of, the lack of natural gas production and drilling in our county for many, many years. Basically, there was very little to no activity in 23, which this budget represents from the revenues. So we subsequently, and the price of natural gas was down the whole year, very, very depressed prices. So the result was we had a drop of, or a loss of almost 150 million, a little more than 150 million in values from our current budget year to our proposed budget year. And certainly that affects us in less revenues. I would suggest maybe an 11 to 12% drop in revenues for each fund that we have. And given the fact that we had a working budget deficit going into the proposed budget, there was some difficulties in preparing this budget. The budget does not include any layoffs. I think it was important for me to bring to the court that given the state of the economy and the way our families are dealing with inflation, that I do the best I could to make sure everybody kept their job. And so this budget does not include any layoffs to any department. So we were able to include that. It does include some sacrifice from every employee in our county. The Commissioners Court over the years have been very generous, and rightly so, with our benefit packages to our employees. This current year, we are paying 95% of insurance premiums for all employees. I am, in the proposed budget, I am bringing that down to 85%. And that certainly will the employees will see that on their pay stubs and their checks. It is significant. It adds up. Currently, I think each employee pays a little over $17 per pay period for their insurance plan, and so that will be multiplied twice. So you end up having a deduction of maybe $50 each pay period. So it does add up. But with that sacrifice from employees, that certainly adds up in our expenditures, and that will reduce our expenditures by approximately $250,000. And my goal was to bring our budget deficits, which we cannot continue to afford. Currently, we had a budget deficit of close to $1 million in this year's budget, and with the decrease in revenues, but also with cutbacks in expenditures, we're still able to reduce in this current budget our budget deficit down to a more manageable $600,000, which I think in the moving forward, maybe we can continue to bring that down and finalize the balanced budget without having to depend on our fund balance, which, as all of us are aware, the commissioners are aware, and the county's aware, these funds are not inexhaustible. They've been going down gradually every year, and certainly we do need to have a rainy day fund for emergencies and for emergency expenditures. And I'd hate to use up all our fund balance and then have the time when we do have an emergency that requires expenditures that are not budgeted, and not have the money. So, Commissioners, I mean, you had a chance to review it. I think, travel was reduced, to all departments. General supplies, I mean, we're down to the bare minimum. These departments, this is not a one-year event. We've been reducing expenditures for a long time since we lost most of our values, but I think it's a fair budget in the end. Employees keep their jobs. We're still able to produce the services for our community, and moving forward, I think things are looking up. I was talking to the commissioners, and we had these conversations. We've approved, I think, 5 or 6 renewable projects that will substantially improve the tax base in our county. They're just not under construction yet, and so we have a couple of years to go by before we can realize some I think, great benefit to our employees. So I did increase a penny and a half to our M&O. Our INS, we do have debt service, and it has been steadily, I think, decreasing over the years. I think we've done a good job of paying back our obligations. The biggest one, of course, was some road bonds that were issued back in, I believe, 2005, for a lot of the road paving, a lot of the streets that were done back then through those years. And we're down to the 2 last payments, but they're hefty. It's about $1 million a payment for this year, and next year a little over $1 million. And then we'll be done with a big weight on our INS. But this year, with the values that came in and our debt obligations, we didn't have, and keeping the same tax rate, we didn't have enough to cover our obligations. So I did have to raise 1 penny for INS also, just to cover and meet our obligations. And that leaves us with Road and Bridge. Road and Bridge also, of course, provides a lot of services to our community, and it's a different fund than our M&O and the INS, and the Road and Bridge has allowed by the state of Texas, 15 cents is the maximum that we can tax our taxpayers for that fund. Currently, we're at 8 cents per $100 evaluations, and because of the significant drop in values, and in order to keep our employees and our services continuing, and with also some decreases in expenditures, we still had to raise 1 penny to make sure that we could balance that fund. And so that resulted in the proposed budget. Our current tax rate is 89.3627 that we currently have, and that is with a values of, on the M&O, $1,266,000,000, and my proposed tax rate for fiscal year 24-25 is 0.926561, which is an increase of 0.032934. And so it'll be basically 1 cent for Road and Bridge, an increase, 1 cent for debt service, and then 1.32934 cents for the general fund. And certainly, we are not at there is also a maximum tax rate that counties can tax our taxpayers on including our M&O, which is the general fund, and our INS. And we are pretty close to reaching that ceiling. So we need to be careful as to, we just can't say we can continue to tax our taxpayers to bring these revenues up. We are close to the ceiling, so this gives us a cushion. And certainly, as we know, the economic activity within the county is difficult, so We are bringing some pain to our taxpayers. If not, won't be substantial. I'll be working with Debbie on exactly what the effects on $100,000 home will be with the proposed tax increase, and maybe we can have those figures, for the next meeting. I don't have them now. It should not be substantial, but it's an increase. So we certainly will hear from the taxpayers. So as all, department heads, that's who we respond to. That's who we are obligated to talk to, our taxpayers. I am asking them, to sacrifice a little more to keep our services and our employees employed. But at the same time, there are, being sacrifices made, by the county, our employees, and hopefully we can see better days in the near future. Commissioners, any comments? You, open the floor.
As far as the state assigned values, how is that, how we're set up back in 23? How is that?
As far as the what, sir?
The state assigned values, I know that the property value had gone down, that's why we're not generating the money that we used to get, right?
Yes.
So now with the state assigned, how is that gonna help us or in the future and the years to come?
Well, it's not going to affect.
Can you approach the podium? Can you approach the podium with those, please?
Okay, and this is not my.
No, I'm just,
Thank you, very well, thank you.
Amada with the appraisal district is the one that could answer that better for you. But the ones that it affects is the school.
Oh.
It affects us because it lowers the values, but, I mean, it's not, we're not gonna get affected like the school did.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause
We
they're
don't
not
receive any
penalized.
state funding to.
right,
like that, so.
but that's, the values, of course, it makes a difference for the property owners.
Okay,
Yes, and the
yes.
schools, the
And
state did impose caps, commissioners, on how much we can raise,
I think it's, what?
3%.
Yeah, 3%.
From year to year, but since our
Yes.
value went down,
Could, more than that, it went
Yeah.
down more than that, but they capped it.
yeah.
Yeah, that can only go down so much. But like I said, I mean, I think Amada would be the person to ask,
Yeah, and I'm just asking because
Yeah.
you heard state assigned values.
Yes.
How is that gonna affect us? And I know that we're lucky, like you said, it might not affect us as much as the
As
school
the
district.
school.
School district.
Yeah,
Correct.
because they get penalized, we don't get penalized, we just get taxed. You know, we just get taxed a little bit more, because the value's not there. that
So
means-
there is, and I certainly don't have those figures because it would not apply to us this year. There's a no new revenue tax rate which is basically, the tax rate the same, rate that
We had
would
last year.
generate the same amount of revenues of the current year. And certainly that tax rate would be much higher because we're still way below,
Yes.
what our current rate, so it
So
doesn't.
we're way below, both the no new revenue rate and the voters approval rate.
Right.
So we're good as far as that goes, but of course, the taxpayers will see I think it's 3 cents.
3 and 2/3,
3
3 and 2, and point 3 and 2.
Yeah.
3.32?
Yeah, 3 and a third of a penny.
Okay. So, I mean, that's all we can do. I mean, there really isn't any help at all. So, but I mean, we're below what we're capped at. We can't go any higher than without a vote.
Yeah.
Ms. Mendoza, before you do the podium, has there been any, information or any notice of any more state assisted funding for delinquent taxpayers? No, there hasn't been any conversations about that anymore?
No, none at all. And unfortunately, the attorneys are doing the best that they can to collect what is outstanding. And I mean, that's only like to help out, but not,
Right.
to help out the county in collecting what is due. But there hasn't been any word yet on anything.
Because I know the citizens benefited tremendously from that program, and of course, that's more money coming into the county.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that was a very helpful program, but.
Yeah, but, I mean, I wish more people would have taken advantage of it, the people that needed it,
Mhm.
but, unfortunately, they didn't, a lot didn't. And then when they came, it was already closed.
That's the deadline. So
Yes.
you'll keep us updated in case anything changes?
Oh,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Judge, I
Mendoza.
think, moving forward, as we get employees, as they start to retire, I would feel that we would need to start closing some of these positions down to help us, relieve some stress on the taxpayers and, avoid future, if need, layoffs and stuff like that. So I think, as these retirees, start coming forward, I think we would need to close some of the positions.
I think that it'd be a good way to kind of reduce the pain on layoffs. Like, I mean, certainly none of us would want to go to that extreme, which we had to, I think, back in 2011. I think the auditor we were part of that, and when, the shock of losing $25 million worth of revenue was there, that, the reduction of employees was a shock treatment from going from 400 employees to 250 within a 5 to 6 year plan, and some of it was through forced reduction, retirees, but some of them were layoffs, and certainly that was the most unpleasant time, I think, for all of us. So to avoid that, Commissioner, I agree with what you're saying.
I mean, we do, like you mentioned, we do have brighter days coming. We just don't know exactly when, we got those solar farms coming, they haven't pulled the trigger. But, I think we need to prepare ourselves just in case, they prolong it a little bit more, and we gotta be ready.
We thought we might have some construction this year. It looks good for 25.
Right.
But you're still looking at maybe in 26, year 26, we'll see some of the benefits of the tax receipts from them. But till then, I think the court we've done well in managing the reduction in revenues. We just need to bring our spending down. I think this budget currently, so this year's budget for the public is, we have a pretty hefty budget of $16,902,495. That's for our general fund, the main fund. The proposed budget will reduce that to $16,030,945. So it is a reduction of almost $1 million in spending that the county is being proposed. And that's just because of the reality of our tax base being reduced by that much. At the same time, I was talking to the auditor a few weeks ago. Back when there was a lot of production in our county, the county was entirely, or I would say, or solely dependent on our tax base, our property tax revenues. We didn't have a sales tax to bring in revenues. We certainly weren't charging the amusement redemption machines to pay their fair share to the county. We weren't exploring the ideas of having some of our right-of-ways, getting revenue from our right-of-ways from the utility companies. And all of that we worked on because we knew we had to close the gap on losing revenues. And that alone, the implementation by the court of the sales tax, and this year the implementation of franchise fees on our right-of-ways, and of course the maquinitas, that accounts for almost $3.5 million in revenue that without them, we'd be in very desperate shape.
We've been pretty creative the past 10 years.
And certainly,
for the utilities, it was through AEP, correct?
yes,
Started charging.
yeah, they will be paying a monthly.
Would that be taking effect this year, correct?
They've already started paying a monthly rate on that, depending on the usage.
On the usage.
I think definitely the court has done a good job in diversifying our revenue streams, to not solely rely on, property taxes. Hopefully things get better. In the meantime, we all have to do our part and contribute what we can as far as cuts.
Correct.
Like the judge mentioned and the other commissioners have echoed, to avoid having to lay off any employees. As difficult as things are right now, there's not a whole lot of jobs in this community, unfortunately. So those that do have a job, I think it's our responsibility to do what we can to make sure that people stay employed, to be able to put food on the table for their families. So we'll continue to do
And we're
what we
also
can.
working on the commercial free zone.
Commercial trade zone is another project that we've been talking about for a few years now. I think we should also impact the.
We've already done our share, we're just waiting to see
Right.
when they'll open it back up.
So there's light,
Sure, I
at the
think
end of
things
the
are gonna be
tunnel.
better.
But we gotta prepare for the worst, we gotta be ready just in case, they continue to prolong these projects that we're waiting on.
We have to remember also, there were a few years ago where there was no light.
Right.
Right, there were like 2-3 years, I would talk to the commissioners and tell them there is no light.
Well, we were
at the
solely dependent on one,
end. There's something, you know, there's
Yeah.
light, there's something coming.
And I think that, and I know the auditor and I were talking about this morning, I think, there's quite a few, county governments and municipalities that are in the same situation. You know, they're having to work on, you know, on a negative budget, operate on a deficit budget because things are hard, I think, all across the state. So in the meantime, we have to do what we can to continue to operate as best as we can.
I mean, the goal was to get it under $1 million and then, you know, continue fighting, you know, try to get it to a balanced budget, you know, as balanced as we can, you know, without having to lay off any personnel. I think what we need to work on, Judge, as well as the non-department, we gotta be careful with the non-department.
Okay.
I know we've been, you know, we touch it a little bit more than.
I did, Commissioner, regarding that, because I based myself on expenditures of the current year, and yes, that fund, I did increase it. We usually allocate $150,000 a year for, you know, any improvements on the facilities and a lot of things that come up during the year that are not budgeted. I did increase it to 200,000. That is something that if you wanna leave it at 150, I think we end up spending 200,000.
Well, what I'm saying is us, you know, spending extra than, you know,
Yes.
so we budget 150, you know, we go 100 and, you know.
Well, I think it's closer to 200, I think, what we spent this year, so I figured I put it at 200. So that's one increase, that one line item did increase. For the public, I just wanted to also mention, of our $16 million budget, the taxes account for $6,853,000 of it. So the other $8 million, we've gotten creative. I think the jail, we depend on our regional jail to bring in almost $2.5 million worth of revenue. And so most of our revenue sources now, a bigger percentage is not our property taxes. So I think we try to see and of course the counties we're very limited into how we can't open a business and say we're gonna,
Yeah.
but we depend on property taxes.
We have to keep in mind also that we're gonna start selling the fuel from the fuel farm in the airport. That's
Yeah.
gonna be another source of revenue
Yes.
for the community.
So, yeah, we do, more than half of our revenue does not come from property taxes, for the general fund. 8 million of it comes from, other revenue sources, income from our jails and as I mentioned, the fees. I think our emergency services, they've done a wonderful job, there, with our fire department, they bring in an essential amount of I think this year, I had budgeted 700,000, and they've gone above that. They've gone in revenues of over 900,000. So I am up in the ante a little bit, Dan, to 900,000 in revenues. I think that will certainly be very helpful, and I know your department works hard every day. Every department in our county, we're out there, so I just want to say that I just didn't want anybody to lose their jobs. Mr. Lead budget does that, and it does reduce spending. Now, there may be a few departments that I think will have valid points as to why their cuts should not have been made, and I'm acceptable to that, so we can move forward. Any department heads that saw, basically it was cut to, and it's hard because travel, we need our education, we want our employees to be the best they can. Well, they need their training hours. It just, the expense of travel has gotten so high that I'm doing a lot of my hourly updates on Zoom. I think a lot of us, we can shift to that and not actually physically have to go to a conference, which hotels are very expensive. The gas, fuel, it just makes it unattainable to most departments if they want to take all their employees to get better.
Yeah, the cost of accommodations has gone up tremendously, and I know we've explored that. I think after COVID, haven't really seen them offer a lot of Zoom, at least not for commissioner continuing education, which is unfortunate because it does get pricey.
I serve on a water board, Region M. They offer Zoom, so I don't have to travel to the valley every 2 or 3 months. I think I need a few hours for, I think I'm acting 1 hour for my continuing education. I'll have a Zoom class in a few weeks, Roger, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So they are available, it just, I think we need to look for them. So I won't, the alternative would be for me to travel to San Antonio, spend money on a hotel that we don't have, so I'd rather do a Zoom class and get it done, get my education that way. So, those are the choices we're all having to make. But certainly, the floor is open to any department head. We don't have a list, so anybody who is brave enough to get up, just come up. Jesse, good morning, Jesse.
I'll go first.
Okay,
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Good morning.
you're on page 36, I think, Commissioners.
As you all know, we're expanding our 4-H program, trying to do a lot of things for our youth. One of the things that comes along with that is a lot of travel. You know, the stock shows, we're going this year, we went to Houston, we're going back to Houston. If they're being pulled out of school, I'm required to be there as part of their excuse from school. So I'm kind of in a tough situation where I have to be there. This year I stayed at a hotel in San Antonio, extended stay hotel, and I felt more comfortable sleeping in my truck than in the hotel. But I try to cut as much as I can. And a lot of times I don't take per diem. I just pay for what it's necessary.
Oh, I know, Jesse.
But
the county did get you a truck last year.
and that's been a great help.
And rightly so, the youth benefit from that, so yes, we're all for that.
So are you requesting, for the numbers to go back to what they were this year, Jesse, or what is it exactly you're asking for?
As close as possible to what they
On
were.
both travel and fuel lubricants, or?
Yes, sir. I am actively seeking alternative funding sources, donations from businesses, people that do business in Zapata. I know I spoke to you, Judge, about if there's ever opportunities with abatement plans. Our 4-H program is a registered nonprofit, so we would welcome any of those donations. But it's very difficult.
So
for
I
me to do.
did cut commissioners like I did every department, his travel, which was, substantially more than other departments received, from the county. This year was, 4,500. I brought it down to a more, I guess, conditional level that most departments have of 3,000. So we cut that on the fuel and lubricants. So we have this year 3,600, down to 2,000. Yeah, $200 a month. I don't know how far that'll go. I don't know how many trading sessions you can do with that. But I did want you to come in, because of course at our classes in the Valley for our continuing education, I did sit in on from NRCS, well, not in NRCS, the extension office, on a program where.
AgriLife?
Yes, they did receive substantial funding, increase in funding from the state in this 2-year budget cycle. Will any of that money be coming your way?
It did in the form
Well, it did, that's why, yes.
of a salary increase.
A
from
salary
the state
increase.
portion.
Okay.
They, for whatever reason, they don't provide the county offices with any operating, money.
So it's just a salary? Okay.
So it'll be an increase of 3,100 total?
Yes, sir.
So I guess, are we gonna do this like we usually do it, where we compile this and then we vote on it at the next
Yeah,
budget hearing? Okay.
Commissioner, we'll do that, because this is not an official.
Right.
We can't
No,
take action.
you
Yeah.
cannot vote.
Okay, just wanted to make sure so we
Yeah.
can write down.
So
this.
Nelly will be writing them down.
I'm writing.
Or Rocky too, also.
Thank you, Jesse, we appreciate everything you do for us.
3,100.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse, keep up the good work.
So it'd be all for travel and training or fuel?
Maybe a 1,600 increase on fuel and 1,500 for travel and training.
Okay,
Total of 3,100.
okay.
Morning,
Morning,
Chief.
Dan. How are you, Dan?
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
Before I make the requests that we have, I just wanted to make the court aware and the taxpayers that.
Is that microphone on there?
No.
Oh,
There we go.
there we go. Thank you.
Good morning. Before I make the request that I have for the court, I just want the court to know that, and assure the court that the requests that were being made we kept in mind the current situation with the county and the budget. And we are doing our part in sacrificing, and we will still be taking cuts My first request was for, and I had spoken to the judge about it, on the repairs and maintenance.
Can we
page
get
number
a page
24?
number?
Page
45.
Number 24?
24.
For the fire department?
24.
24.
24.
I thought we were at 45.
Okay.
On the repairs and maintenance, this current budget year, we were set at 45. We did spend around $90,000. But we do have the understanding that we get, from the tobacco fund throughout the year.
Correct.
But I was mentioning to the judge, I did run the numbers, and, what we currently have and then what we're currently gonna get in May, I'm just afraid that it's not
Well, I
gonna be
think-
enough.
Yeah, Danny did, come visit with me, so, and I was counting on those funds
Yes.
to make up the difference, but, I think that fund is slowly drying up also.
No, we have about 70 grand in there right now, so.
Yeah, but the numbers, Mr. Gonzalez, that I had ran with the judge, we're at around 90,000 for repairs and maintenance, and for medical supplies, we're around 90,000. So.
Which both tap into the
Yeah.
tobacco fund.
Yeah.
throughout the
We only-
year.
So there's not enough for both,
We only
yeah.
get
Right.
budgeted 20 for medical supplies, and currently, we have taken from repairs and maintenance, around 60,000, and around 70,000 from medical supplies.
Is there a reason why the projection for the tobacco fund is expected to go down? What is that?
No,
based on?
that I don't know.
No, it's not going down, it's pretty even. It comes in
It's
around
pretty-
50 grand
pretty
every,
consistent every year.
Mhm. Yeah, and what we currently have, and then what we're.
I'm sorry, whatever we spend, like when we bought the ambulances,
It's subject
that
for
goes
reimbursement.
into it, so we get some of that money back, so.
So you wanna go back to 45, knowing that you're gonna spend 90?
Well, like this year, you know, our goal was 700,000, and Judge.
I know, and
But I can promise you,
but
it's
that- and
gonna
that's
go
what I-
over a million. This year's gonna go over a million because we still have the remainder of
And
this one.
you know, that, in the end,
Yeah.
it really helps because our deficit is reduced
Yeah,
by.
so, you know, it's a $300,000 difference that we put in, but the thing is that, you know, that in turn means that the ambulance has been going out more, so more tires are being bought, more
You're very
oil
correct,
changes, and, you
yes.
know. So,
I just dropped them because I thought we could make up the difference from the tobacco
and we
fund.
can try, Judge, like, I don't mind, as long as, you know, I'm just afraid that we're gonna exhaust the tobacco fund, and if there's another, from another place we can take it out of the tobacco fund, then we're okay without, you know, increasing it back to 45. But I don't know that
I think they're both very important expenses
Yeah.
that, I think our safest bet would be to possibly put it back at 45. Just so we don't, depend too much on the tobacco fund.
Yes, sir.
And the medical supplies, you said, what was your expense for this year?
For this year, currently, we're at around 90,000 as well, and we're budgeted 20 for the year.
The overage, all of it does come out from the
Yeah.
tobacco fund, so
Yes.
I mean,
And normally, that's what we always do, Commissioner. We have that understanding that the tobacco fund is to replenish those line items throughout the year.
And I think we've always been responsible with that fund and used it just for that.
For medical, yes, sir.
so we'll leave that one as is, 20.
So there'll be
Yes.
an increase of 15,000 on
Yes, sir.
repairs,
Mhm.
and go back to 45.
We're willing to stay with the cut from the travel and training like everyone else, and the turnout gear as well for this year. It's a substantial amount. We did graduate 2 firefighters, but with the proposed remaining amount for the turnout gear, we already called some vendors and we should be good
Yep, so
for
I
those
get
two.
busy with you on
Yes,
that, we
sir.
have enough.
Yeah, but of course, in the future, hopefully within the next 4 or 5 years, those turnout gears only last 10 years, unless they, you know, burn significantly or a big tear. But, they last 10 years. We're at around the 5th year with the last ones we had purchased. So we still have plenty of time to start replenishing those, so we're okay with that.
Okay, appreciate that, then.
Chief, there was an increase to, contracted
Contracted services.
services, what was that for?
That's the same reason, since the overall, what we brought in this year, it's gonna surpass the $1 million.
Okay.
So we have to, it's a percentage of what she bills.
It's a
Okay.
building, it's the building that she does,
Okay.
It's
so.
just by a percentage basis, so if we
The
bill
more you
more,
collect,
the more
the
they make,
more
yeah.
the biller makes.
Okay, no problem.
That's what, yeah, I increased that.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else, Chief?
That is it for the fire department. For the page number 45, which is emergency management / fire marshal, on that one, a deputy of ours will be retiring August 30th. And I wanted to request the court if we can transfer that slot to the fire department and hire instead of a deputy, hire one EMS personnel for the fire department where it's most desperately needed, more than on the fire marshal side.
Who is the deputy retiring?
Ramiro Garcia.
Oh, okay.
So he's the deputy investigator, right?
Deputy investigator, and
Yeah.
I was requesting if we can transfer that slot to the fire department, to hire somebody that we already have in line, a local person.
Is that salary what
It's
the
gonna be-
EMS makes or less or more?
It's gonna be less, because the one we will be hiring, if this goes through, is gonna be an EMT basic.
Okay,
Ramiro's current salary is at 43,190, and I spoke to Nelly and she ran the numbers with benefits, and it will be total with benefits 41,363. But
for
that's-
the EMS.
For the EMS, so it does
So
look
it'll be
down
a
a
savings
little
of
bit.
about 20,000, I guess.
Yes, but I believe, Nelly, this number does not
It doesn't reflect the overtime.
overtime,
Okay.
because they do 120 hours because of the 24/40.
Do we have more or less a
This-
ballpark on what
And
the
the
overtime
43,190 doesn't include the benefits, so it's more of a savings than just the 43,190.
But that, that reflects
No, that's
on
like-
the
that's like
overtime.
60,000.
Yeah.
would be? Yeah, that's just the base pay.
That's just like salary.
So we don't
So
have
it-
more or less a ballpark
So
number for.
I think it'll be an
overtime.
even,
Yeah, I think
With
it'll be
overtime.
somewhat even.
it'll be even with
Give or
with
take-
the
Give or
overtime.
take a little bit.
With the overtime.
Okay.
That is it on the emergency management fire marshal one, and my last one will be on the constables.
What page is that, Chief?
I'm sorry, it's on page number 25.
25.
I can only speak on my behalf when it comes to the other line items, which I am okay. And again, doing our part as far as sacrificing. I did speak to the judge in November. We do have a mandatory elected official training in Huntsville. And that one, I checked judge as well, and that one we cannot do through Zoom. We have to go in person. And the proposed budget for the travel and training is 500 for this coming budget. And I already did call the hotel reservations and per diem. There's no registration fee, it is free for the elected officials. So it's about 1,500 per constable.
So we may have to make that adjustment just for all four?
I
not for
asked the
the
judge
required.
if we can make that adjustment just for this budget year so we can do the training.
Yes.
That's only every term, so it's once per term. If that is okay with the court. And the next year, we can go back to the 500. And just on that one, the other ones, we did get cuts. And like I said, I cannot speak of the other constables, but on my behalf, I'm willing to stay with the proposed cuts for my.
So it'll be an increase of 4,000?
4,000 total, or even for all four.
Cause if you're gonna be required to, the other three
It
will
is
be
a
required.
requirement, Commissioner, yes. And I did call, we did.
I had left the trial the same as it has been previously years, but I wasn't,
Yes.
you made me aware of these required.
It is required training for the elected officials. And then I did get pricing at, a very reasonable hotel, nothing fancy, it's a Holiday Inn, to keep in mind the cuts as well, and keep it, and save as much as we could.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Judge.
Danny,
Thank you,
what was
Commissioners.
the
That's it for me.
salary for the EMT?
Well, I have when I called you. remember,
41,363.
The hourly rate is $13 an hour. So, and then it says 27,040 for the year, but then plus the benefits and.
Right. I just wanted the hourly.
Okay.
13.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning,
Commissioners.
Martha.
I am on page 12,
Okay.
and I want you to please, notice for this coming year, the IDOC is offering down from 7,500 to 1,000.
Yeah.
That was what for this year, it'll be that way. Hopefully.
Yes,
Continue that way.
Yes, Commissioners, this is, some of these costs have been, I guess, coming through OLS, Operation Lone Star, and hopefully, this will continue. So we're waiting for approval of the budget to see if, how much funding will be, coming our way, with Operation Lone Star. I think we should have something before we finally approve the budget, because all Operation Lone Star employees are included in the proposed budget, including some of the expenses that are incurred.
Do you know why they're taking so long?
No, I don't. The governor's office will come out with some, I know Roxy, we of course visit with our consultant often. We're all waiting. I think every county that's involved with Operation Lone Star is waiting to see how much funding will be available to each county. Certainly, I believe it'll be less than what we've been receiving. We did request, 3.5 million approximately? 3.3 million in funding, which included, mainly for law enforcement, sheriff department, and then for the administration, part of it, we did include additional funding. Also, hopefully, we'll get funded entirely, but if not, any funding that comes our way will be much appreciated, so we'll just see how much is available.
So by the September 9th meeting, Judge, we'll know if,
I
we
think
get
so.
funded or not.
Hopefully.
Just so we know what we're gonna approve, because it's a significant amount.
We will go up quite a bit for marathons, right? We'll go back up to 75.
We'll have to pay, yes, your eye docket, yes.
Okay then. Cool.
And of course, they did fund it for the biennium, the 2 years. This will be the second year. So there's funding in place for this year. Of course, next legislative session, we'll see what happens with the
Okay,
state,
so
whether
we're
it
safe for this
continues.
year.
We're hoping it is. We'll receive some monies. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some money. I don't know how much, but I think we'll be able to afford,
Cover them.
cover them.
They just haven't told any counties, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't told any counties.
Yes.
That's statewide.
Yeah.
So with that being said, Judge, I need my travel, and I know that's, everybody's trying to make cuts. That was a significant amount of cut right there.
Well, I just went back to normal levels of 3,000, which had been, over the years, kind of
Well, I'm
what we could
willing to go
afford.
down, Judge,
Yeah.
from my general supplies, 'cause I buy a lot of stuff out of pocket anyway, from 35 to 3,000. If I could possibly get my travel back to what it was, as some of you may have heard, I have 2 more budget hearings to go, because I'll be retiring, God willing, and I'm already on countdown. You're not supposed to count until 1 year, but I'm already on countdown.
2 years.
December 2025, God
Well,
willing.
good for you.
Yeah, so,
That'll be how many years of service?
It'll be 36 this October, so,
Incredible.
yeah, I need to go. Yeah, you need young grades in here, I need to go. But, I need my clerks to start going to conferences, so they'll know what it's all about. We don't have Zoom. I've tried also, for personal reasons, I'd rather do Zoom, but it's not possible. I have to have 20 hours of continuing education. I use the county vehicle, so I don't have to get fuel for myself, for my personal vehicle, so
Right.
I think that's a help right there.
Yes.
Big. So I'm just asking, you can bring my general supplies down to 3,000, but if you'll increase my other 5,500, my travel.
Okay.
So reduce 500 and increase 2,000. So total increase of
No,
15.
2,500.
Reduce to 500?
Yeah, it'll be an increase of 1,500
Yes.
to the budget overall.
Correct. Okay.
And like I said, last but not least, I have 2 more budget hearings to go, and I know my answer, but I'm asking for an increase for the district clerk along with all the other elected officials.
I know.
Just because I have to, I'm gonna do it for the next 2 years, Judge, you're gonna hear me out.
Well, good for you. Good for coming forward and knowing that, well, just telling the public, I think we're all underpaid. There's no doubt. I think every employee, every elected official, for the most part, there might be 1 or 2 elected officials that earn pretty good salaries, but for the most part, we're all underpaid. We have to reflect what we have available in our county and.
And I completely understand,
Yeah.
I just had to voice it.
Okay, all right.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
all right.
Judge Bruni, good morning.
Judge, good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners, for the record, Judge Bruni.
Good morning.
Judge and Commissioners, I'm just here to ask to see if, all the JP clerks, I'm not asking for a pay raise for the JP clerks, but I just wanted to make an adjustment so where they all can be earning the same salary. I
It's
know
on page
that-
13, Commissioners.
I know that, JP precinct, 4 was transferred with her pay, so that's why she's earning a little bit more. But I just wanted to see if, all the JP clerks, I know that they brought it up every budget hearing.
Yeah.
They've been bringing it up, and, I'm
I
just
mean,
asking.
it's a fair point, Judge. And I remember hearing the same,
Yes.
from all the judges, all the judges of the peace. For some reason, they had been left behind, when,
Yes.
the other elected officials were earning substantially more, I think $6,000 more.
Yes.
So it took one swoop for the court to say, okay, everybody's earning 42 or whatever now, whatever our rate is.
Yes.
In this case, yeah, it was a transfer. The court did approve, did not reduce her salary when she transferred from another department. And the other clerks are earning the same amount with the exception of that one. I don't know how to break it. When you say earn the same, I don't think it would be fair to that person to lower her salary to make everybody equal.
Yes, so
I mean,
that's what I'm
the court-
$4,360.
And that's a substantial increase, but I think it,
Well, just so y'all can consider, like I say, it's not a pay raise for the clerks, it's just an adjustment, just so y'all can be earning the same pay. Just like the motor graders operating the same pay
yes,
raise, like you say.
yeah, no, it's a fair point.
And, I know that hopefully we get the OLS money, because I do have a clerk under OLS, and, she does help out a lot, especially when we get those, warrant roundups. Our phone is just ringing like constantly, so it does help that we have two clerks, not just I, but that we have two clerks.
And
I know that other counties have like 7 or 8 clerks, and Zapata has always had one.
So, Judge, base amount, we'll be looking at $13,104 if we brought all the clerks up to the base salary.
Yes, plus
But we would have to figure out the benefits.
the benefits,
And
yes.
could you figure out the benefits for us for the next hearing, and just so we can see exactly what we're looking at, if we were to bump up all the clerks to the same salary and look at that expense? I mean, we have to have actual numbers in front of us.
Yes,
so we
yes.
can-
And I know maybe I'll come back with, depending on what happens with the OLS, with Veronica, my second clerk, to see if we can put her either full-time, part-time, but hopefully we can get that OLS money.
And Commissioner, the judge did bring it up also in our budget hearing, our budget workshop. The fact that, of course, the judge traveled in her own personal vehicle to maybe say, Nassau, you're always,
Yes.
actually, can I, receive, road use, not road.
Car allowance.
Car allowance, and, because there's 2 JPs, I think, that have county vehicles that have fuel cars, and there's 2 that drive their own vehicles without a car allowance. And because of the condition of what our property taxes were, to make it fair, I just removed, the fuel from the other 2. So they can drive county vehicles, they're just gonna have to pump their own gas, they're probably not gonna like that very much, but we can't afford I'd have to bring up 2 car allowances to keep on par, unless the court might wanna consider that.
But that would require advertisement as well?
Yes.
I don't know whether we'll meet the deadline for advertising.
I did not include it in the proposed budget. I think there's possibly a way to do that. But that would be the condition to kind of bring, we've got 2 JPs that are using their own vehicles, they're having to pay their own gas. That would require a car allowance. And then we've got 2 JPs that have county vehicles and we're getting them a fuel card. So in order to make it even, they can drive the county vehicles, but they're not getting a fuel card. So that's in the proposed budget. If y'all wanna change that, I don't know I haven't spoken with the other JPs. And it's just a reflection of the revenues, the lack of revenue that we.
And I know that we're probably getting the truck from, Poncho Lopez, I don't know, where's it from?
49 district?
From the 49 district,
Okay.
probably get a vehicle. And I'd rather, even if I have to put gas on a county vehicle, I would, cause it's
Yeah.
at least the wear and tear of my
The wear
car,
and tear.
it's not
Yeah.
back and forth, I'd rather.
Okay, well, I appreciate
So
that.
that would be good.
So we can head in that direction, yes.
Yes, and I know like how Ms. Martinez was saying about the clerks needing some training, I know that I've been going to my trainings as well, and hopefully maybe for next budget, not this one, cause I know we're tight. But like I was telling my clerks, I think we need money so the clerks can also go to the conferences as well, because like, I think in my office, like 80% of the work is done by the clerks, and I think that they need the training.
I wonder, on Operation All Star, do we have travel and training, yes,
We
money?
do, but we have to tie it back to Operation Lone Star.
Okay, so it's.
So there would have to be a class on Operation Lone Star.
Okay.
National Conference.
Okay.
All right. Well, Judge and Commissioners, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge, appreciate it.
Judge, Commissioners, well, it's that time again. I need to replace my elections equipment again. It's become obsolete. It needs to be replaced by November of next year. Okay, I don't have any numbers. We visited with one of the salespersons yesterday, and we will have an estimate
Your
before.
pages where.
I'm on page 8, but I don't, it's not, I'm not, I'm gonna pick my battles this time. I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm happy with what you did.
So-
But it's for elections
so,
equipment.
Didn't we just finish paying for that equipment?
Yes, but
Now it's obsolete.
the thing is, it's no longer updatable or upgradable. So then comes the risk of cybersecurity, which is a lot of what was discussed at the meeting that I just came back from. Okay,
You're
so
looking at a hefty something there.
yes, the only
Quarter of a
thing.
million or what?
Well,
It was
oh God, I don't
250
know.
what we financed, right?
Yes, something like that. But refresh my memory. When we financed it last time, so let's say that we go into a contract later on this year, we don't pay until next year, right?
Till the five, we can pay till the five.
Okay, but I'd
first
like,
payment.
to discuss it now because
You
I
know,
need,
that just alerting the court that that's coming. Okay.
absolutely.
We'll have to deal with it next year.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
yeah.
yes and no. I just need to have a contract like soon.
Okay.
I'm not, they made it very clear that I would not have the
But you
equipment
don't
by
have to change
November.
anything in your budget.
No, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna pick my battles
Okay.
today.
All right.
Besides, I can't talk too
Thanks
good,
for
so
the heads
no.
up. Thank you.
Yeah. Letting you know.
Anyone else?
Mr. Science?
Okay, on, what you requested for the $100,000,
What page are we on?
No, this is, information that she's
the
gonna give us
information that the judge
Okay.
requested.
for the,
For the,
Tax.
a home.
Yeah, which home, yeah.
For $100,000. The total tax without any type of exemptions is $893.62. For a home, for, 100,000 times the current rate, or the rate that we're proposing is 0.926561, would be $926. So only a difference of $32.93.
$32? Okay. That's good to know. I appreciate that information, because.
That won't even cover a McDonald's run nowadays.
yeah, not for your whole family.
That's-
Yeah,
So,
so, I mean,
okay.
But it's, yeah.
And there's significant homestead exemption, so I think that number will be even less.
It, more
Correct.
than likely, yes, it should be.
Okay, it's not a huge increase.
No. And I wanna apologize, this does go to my budget. Roxy, what was the page?
Page 18.
18.
Okay, for, maintenance, repairs and maintenance, I left out, again, $5,227.50 that I need to add to that.
Are we talking about equipment maintenance?
It's the voter registration, the DM3,
Well, I did increase it to 34, well, it's the same. I didn't decrease it.
no, that
So
one.
but you need to go up
I
even
need
5,000?
5,000, 5,227.50.
And that's required, Ms. Mills?
It's our voter registration maintenance, is where we input all the information.
It's part of a contract obligation, or?
So it'll just be for this year and then it'll come back down, or it has to stay the same?
No, it's gonna be a continuous fee. We paid a lot into it at the beginning,
Okay,
and now this is just a regular
like an annual fee for the
maintenance
program?
support, yes.
Okay.
So it'll increase to 39,352.15.
We round up.
And we're looking at the equipment maintenance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. The rest I can.
39,353 will even it out. 39,353.
You're okay with your travel reduction?
Yes, that's good.
Okay.
We're gonna increase it 5,227.
Okay, Ms. Mendoza, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other department heads? Ms. Gonzalez, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. For the record, Patricia Gonzalez, Director of Engineering Program.
Page number, Ms. Gonzalez?
Page number 33. I guess I was hit pretty hard.
I was wondering why you weren't smiling this morning.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but that's why I'm right here. First of all, I just wanna thank you for this year was a real good year for the community, because we have helped a lot of people. I mean, I was given a lot of money, for this year. Then I did see that it's a little bit, a lot lower. but then my monies come from the taxes, so, I do.
Judge, the decrease in the indigent care, is that the percentage-based number?
Yes, it's
Okay.
8% of whatever our tax,
Okay.
general tax generates, and so, yeah, we went down,
$100,000.
yes.
So from those $500,000, Ms. Gonzalez, how much of that have we spent? Have we already gone over? Are we still under?
The 500,000 goes.
Yeah,
in
they go
Right,
directly
to
into
LMC.
LMC, so we kind of don't see the numbers until this month, because they're the ones that are taking care of that.
Okay, so we'll get a report from them that shows us
Yeah, so we
exactly.
can submit that to the state at the end of the year.
Okay.
We don't get reimbursed, they're the ones that get the reimbursement.
Yeah, so the total amount for the 8% that we're obligated to hold for indigent care is $504,249. Her budget is $503,196, which is, about $1,000 under. 400,000 of that is going through the intergovernmental transfer to the Laredo Medical Center. They're responsible for our indigent in-house, in-hospital care, indigent care patients. The rest, I try to, supplement the extra 100,000 to all the programs that Patty, of course, is operating so well for us. And I guess the big reduction went on the indigent care state. This year you had 48,000, be expected to work with 30,000.
30,000. Which in a total, because it is the same, it comes from the same, numbers. It will probably be at 48,000 if you put them all together. But then I do use that money like for TERP and, the funerals for the pauper.
And those are also percentage-based?
Based on.
That's, the Commissioners Court did that.
It depends what you want.
No, I'm asking just como dice indigent care state, I was wondering if that funding came from the state or was allocated by us?
No,
directly?
I don't know why it says states, cause it's a local fund, it's a local funding.
Okay.
that is
They're just different
provided
programs,
by-
right? Different programs?
It is the local monies that we use like for the physicians and the prescriptions.
They just come from our general fund, we don't get any
Yeah,
assistance.
they're
from the
It's
state.
outside of the
48%. We used to, in fact, the county was contributing the entire 8% to LMC. We would do that intergovernmental transfer, the entire amount, and then the county would fund the rest of the line item from our general fund. I think now, we're saying, okay, we're gonna allocate the 8%, but part of it is we're gonna use it for our local matches. And, so that's why, basically, ton of the T, I think I'm $500 off.
We'll just base ourselves in trying to run through the clinic and through the contract instead of, going outside with these numbers, right?
Yeah.
My concerns are a little bit with the meds, because even though they go through the contract, we still have to supply them with, medication.
So is
and that's
that,
where-
the turf, is that the meds?
No, the TARP is the electricity,
Oh,
and
so
all
that-
that,
that's
so
a-
that, I didn't use much this year, that money's, I transferred, in other words, I was using it for the medications and all that.
Okay.
We did have some people that we did help out, but it's not, there's more programs in the county that they can go through instead of going through us, where we can use those monies to be able to use for medications or health wise.
So, yeah, it's a
So
reflection.
it's just, yeah.
We had $100,000 less to work with,
Yes.
that puts them down
But
too
it's
bad.
okay. The rentals, the HIS, which is for some reason, the computer gives you HIS, but it's different. I don't have that software anymore, but I did ask you for that, to keep that, so I could have a rental for a, copy machine and a fax machine.
Okay, so you need the
because I do-
3150.
Yeah, so I do need those, 2,500 as rentals,
Well, so you wanna go back to 3150, right? Cause it is at 2,500.
Yeah, and 2,500 is fine, because, actually, they,
She just
yeah,
wants
they
to
supply me.
reclassify
Oh,
it.
reclassify it,
See, I
okay.
reclassified as
I'm
rental,
sorry.
so I can get that, because, I was, given a very good,
Yeah, so we'll just change that to rental.
yes, just rental, so it can state that it's rental, and I believe that's, that was we had to do that, so I can get, it's gonna be better, because I am, in the general supplies, I'm taking money out of that to buy toners and all that, and it ends up being the same amount for that rental, so I'd rather.
I
do it
wonder if
that
we
way.
could just move it over to general supplies so that we don't create a new line item.
You want to, you can do that, yes. I mean, it's still gonna
That
be
means
paid,
you're
but
right.
since it is gonna be a rental,
It would, because you need to create a line item.
yeah. I don't know if it.
Well, because she's buying supplies, rental. or
Well, actually, no,
parts.
I'm not buying supplies, that's
They're
why it's
included
gonna,
with the contract?
it's just a contract, and they supply the toner and
Okay.
everything for the machine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna spend less money this way than what I'm doing right now, cause I'm
Right.
using my general supplies to be able to run. And aside from that, my printer's already, I mean, it's in final year.
So what would be your
It
recommendation?
is under rental.
I would just change it to rental.
Yes.
I guess we can just put it, rentals and software.
Just rental.
Or
Yeah,
rentals.
just rental, because I don't
Like
have
all
any
the other
software.
ones.
Yes, and that way
Okay.
we can leave it that way.
Rental maintenance.
And also I'm concerned because, yes, and everybody's been saying that for the salaries, and yes, it would be nice that all directors have the same pay. It would be something that, you could consider, because if you look into, I've been going through all this, all the directors in the county have different pays, and it probably is because some of them have more years than others and stuff like that, right? But it is something that would be nice, to look into.
Hopefully within the community.
For the directors,
Okay.
the ones that are listed,
Patty, you've done a wonderful job there.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much, and we'll keep on managing the way we can with this budget.
Thank you for helping our community.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Any other department heads?
Hey, Fernando, yes, step right up. Do you wanna?
29.
Yes.
Probation
Morning.
chief,
29.
29?
We went ahead and already approved our budget through the juvenile board. We're getting $269,407 from state aid. And then I went ahead and allotted, more fringe benefits to our grant to help the county, save some money. I saved you guys $53,000.
And yes, Fernando, thank you so much. He did come in and say, Judge, I think I have a way to help the county out, keep our basically our same benefit packages and employment packages. And, so, we were, I guess, had a larger share of the funding coming from the county. Well, $50,000 could be moved to your grant funding. I appreciate that, a lot. Thank you so much.
I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything.
No, but we appreciate it.
No,
Yeah.
thank you, appreciate the help though.
Thank you. And thank you for the vehicle. I think the environmental
Yes.
is good.
Yes. Yeah, we're in the process of getting that new vehicle, hopefully within this coming week.
Okay.
Before the end of the fiscal year. Cause I'm
Good deal.
running around trying to make sure we expend all our grants so that we continue moving forward, either getting more money from the state or, at least the same.
Well, I appreciate your creativeness in helping the county.
Thank you, Fernando.
It really is.
Yes, have a good day.
Thank you.
Any other department heads? Commissioners, do y'all have any changes? I don't.
Commissioners, I know, I appreciate y'all working, and you also for cuts to your discretionary funds from your parks, and that certainly was never enough, so, I think every department, my department, I cut back also, I think all of us, it's just, reality, and the problem is, most of our, I guess, discretionary funds, supply funds, travel, we're down to the bare minimum, but we still cut it more, and it hurts. I think the most painful part of it was having our employees contribute now more to their insurance. I think, I'd like to get to the point where we can go back to where we are, and,
Maybe eventually, Judge, once, we get these projects up and running.
I think so.
Considering the cost of, healthcare, Judge, I think we're very blessed to have the health benefits that we
Yeah.
currently have with the county, even after the increase, because I talked to a lot of people that have other different insurances through their employers, or some don't have insurance, and the cost of medical care right now is outrageous, so the fact that even though the county's only paying 85%, I think it's still very much a generous plan for our employees.
But,
So if there's no other changes, Judge, I'll make a motion that we recess.
I forgot something.
okay, Ms. Patty.
I'm sorry, I totally forgot, because this year I had to buy the, bags for, the body bags for the fire
Oh, yes, we
department.
ran out, yes.
Yes, I used so many that I'm kinda short because of that, But I'm just thinking maybe this other
Well, I
year,
think-
maybe we can get out of somewhere else.
Yes, and non-department hit us early, get them our order early, the extra 50,000 that,
Before it runs out.
that has been approved, I think I can cover that, I'm sure, cause it's like $10,000, is that what?
Yeah, well, I had to order less because it came out of my funding, so now I'm missing that
Yeah.
amount to be able to pay some.
Bring in, the first Commissioner's Court of October.
Okay.
So we're up to $200,000.
Yes.
And that helps you guys.
And maybe
that
next
helps
year
us.
we get out of a non.
Yes, well,
Department for that?
in October will be in the new budget year, we can get out of our department.
Okay.
So first meeting in October.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we recess for September 9th, for the second budget hearing.
Very well, motion by Commissioner Mendoza to recess, to September 9th, same time, and seconded by Commissioner Solis, so we'll recess and come back and finish our budget.